Nothing quite prepares a couple for this stage of retirement where one is hitting the snooze alarm before they have to go to work, and the other one's already out the door with their bag of golf clubs in hand. And if you're the one hitting that snooze alarm before work, you may ask yourself, why does life feel so different now? Nothing on my side has really changed. Same job, same schedule, but somewhere on the inside, you might not be able to put your finger on it, but something is different. In this video, we're going to cover why this staggered retirement phase feels so odd, even when you love your job, and then what has shifted kind of beneath the surface, and then finally what you can do today to smooth out this phase and make sure that it's enjoyable for both of you without having the temptation to hide those golf clubs when that contrast just hits a little bit too hard.
Hi there, I'm Denise. I started this fully alive journey after winning a pretty tough battle with cancer. I came away with a whole new perspective and appreciation for life. Now, as I'm leaning into retirement, I'm discovering and sharing practical ways to live a fully alive life for many years to come.
So, why does it feel so weird? Up until this point, you've been living these really parallel lives. Same schedule, same focus. You go to work, you're 9 to 5. Now, one person's day looks like alarm clock in the morning, schedules, meetings, deadlines, a commute, while the other line, the other half of this couple, their day is a lot more flexible, slow mornings, hobbies. And here's the odd thing, that even when the working spouse still loves their job, when these lives now sit side by side, even for just a few days, things start to really look different. Last week it was just my job, and now this week it's my job sitting next to a retirement life. And if unchecked, that job that you love can quickly feel like this place I need to go while my spouse is living their retirement dream. So these feelings are really normal. Psychologists actually have a word for it. They call it a contrast bias. It's when two very different experiences sit side by side that the contrast suddenly feels amplified. It's a little like this in my mind. You might have your cute little 10-pound miniature long-haired dachshund and think, I love my little dog. But if a 2-pound teacup poodle comes and sits next to your little 10-pound dachshund, your little dachshund now suddenly looks huge. And the same thing happens here. When retirement sits across the breakfast table from you every morning, boy, the contrast can really be noticeable. My husband's just a little bit older than me and retired a little sooner than I did. And so I was the one sitting across that breakfast table from Mr. Retirement every morning. And even though I really loved my job, I still had to deal with some of these uncomfortable questions like, wait, how did you get to retirement already? And why am I still going to work every day? And the interesting thing is, it wasn't anger and probably not even jealousy. It was this kind of odd mix of emotions of, I'm really happy for you, and in some ways, I wish I could be there too. If any of this sounds familiar, I invite you to hit that like button. We're not the only one navigating this retirement stage, and it actually helps YouTube get this video out to more couples who are asking these same questions. Because the reality is, 60% of couples don't retire at the same time, which that means millions of people are having to make this same adjustment, where for one, every day feels like Saturday, and the other still has their Monday through Friday schedule. But the good news is, once we understand what's happening, we can make adjustments and take steps to make this phase of retirement feel less off and more enjoyable. One of the first things that couples notice in the staggered retirement is the rhythms of the household have kind of changed. And that's that can't put my finger on it, but something's changed. When both of you worked, your household ran on this, I don't know, this scarcity of time. Evenings and weekends, you both were pulling together to keep the wheels on the bus, to make sure the fridge got filled and the lawn got mowed and there were clean clothes in the closet. But when one spouse retires, that rhythm suddenly shifts. One person now has time during the day where the other one doesn't. And for the one that's still living that 9 to 5 life, the household load that they've carried for years without really even thinking about it can suddenly start to feel a little heavier. And these new rhythms and shifting expectations, if they're not addressed, it can be like this underground current of tension that starts to build. But talking about them early and setting new expectations and finding a new balance and rhythm in life, that's what can make this staggered retirement season so much more manageable. Start by having a conversation around things like household chores and meal prep and grocery runs. With our staggered retirement and me being the 9 to 5 side of that equation, I discovered two things that made a huge difference when setting expectations and finding that new balance in our life. And the first one may shock you a bit, but these were personally road tested by yours truly. So hear me out. Your spouse's retirement did not turn into a 9 to 5 housekeeping job. They've worked for decades to finally step into this retirement life that they've dreamed of. The one that we're dreaming of and that we'll eventually step into. Now, that doesn't mean that they shouldn't help, and they should absolutely pick up some more of the household duties. So this can be a little bit tricky and it may take some time to find that new balance. But really, I think the end goal is for the working spouse to feel a little more supported and for the retired spouse to take on a little more, but still have the freedom to enjoy their retirement life. And since this is a very new and dynamic season, it would be good to revisit these expectations and make sure that everything is still feeling balanced. And so the second thing that I've learned, and I'm keeping it real here, is avoiding the temptation to micromanage. So when my husband retired and started taking on some of the household chores that I had done, it was so tempting to expect them to be done my way. After all, my way's the right way, right? Towels folded a certain way, the garlic press goes in a certain drawer, this is the brand of milk that we like. But when I thought about it, I had a lot of years to figure out a system that works for me. And maybe it's the best system, but maybe it's not. So instead of trying to micromanage everything, I learned 3 important words and repeated them often to myself. Let it go. I found that trying to micromanage every detail did two things. First, it elevates your blood pressure and stress level. But secondly, it diminishes your spouse's enthusiasm for taking on these new responsibilities. But if you can let it go, the payoff is huge. More peace for you and more empowerment and ownership for them. So talking about these expectations early really removes that underground current of tension, keeps the household running smoothly, and actually makes this staggered retirement phase much more manageable and enjoyable for both of you. So it absolutely can feel a little weird in the season when one is setting the alarm clock for work and the other one is setting their golf tee time. But it doesn't have to stay that way. First, recognizing that contrast bias between your work life and their retirement life is very real. Just knowing what it is, can really help you continue to enjoy your job without feeling the need to hide his golf clubs. And second, just talk openly about the chores and responsibilities around the house. Clear expectations can really help to rein in those why aren't they doing everything kind of questions. and set a new balance that's a win-win for both of you. Things are going to look different for every couple, but managed well, this staggered retirement season can actually lay a great foundation for the fully retired life that you both will be sharing together. So now I'd love to hear from you. Are you the one booking the tea time or setting the alarm clock for work? Drop it in the comments below. And if you found this helpful, I'd encourage you to like and subscribe so that you know when my next video posts. Thanks for watching. And here's to living our fully alive retirement lives.